All right, we're live. We're live. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. Ep.1 Game Break Podcast. I'm the mighty Bildo. Joined. Oh, hold on. I'm echoing. Gotta mute that. Joined by my buddy, Old School Legend Gaming over there. What's going on?
Hey, what's up, Bildo? Thanks for having me on. Excited to get this podcast started, man.
Yeah,
Episode 1. Let's do it.
yeah, buddy. I'm stoked. Um, so Summer Game Fest was yesterday, and the Xbox showcase is this Sunday, so I want to get into that. But first, I wanted to today the news came out. I don't know if it was today or yesterday, but the news came out that Universal and Nintendo is working on a new movie for the not working on a movie, working on a deal for the Legend of Zelda movie after the success of the Mario movie.
Really? Okay.
I'm pretty stoked on that.
Yeah, yeah. I wonder. I wonder what kind of lore they're going to follow with the Legend of Zelda. They're going to go back to like classic, because I don't know if you're familiar with the timeline of Legend of Zelda, but there's like three different timelines. It's really convoluted, man. They have videos on YouTube you could check out, and they go a little bit more in depth on what's going on. So if they do make a movie, I'd be curious to see what timeline they're going to follow.
Dude, when it comes to all the uh, lore and timelines for Legend of Zelda, I am absolutely lost. I don't know which one fits in where or anything like that. Um, all I
So
know
the
is Tears of the Kingdom is Game of the Year. That's all I know.
yeah, yeah, no, that was I just finished up my playthrough earlier this week, and great game. Had a lot of fun with it. I'm fortunate to have a great wife who allowed me to spend a lot of time on the couch playing the game.
Dude, yeah, I think I've beaten 3 of the regional phenomena so far, and I'm like hesitating going to the last one. I'm kind of just rolling through, getting armor and unlocking the great fairies and everything, trying to um just trying to level up as much as I can. I don't really want it to end at the moment, but
Yeah, yeah,
got like a couple more weeks before Final Fantasy 16 I want to check out, so I think I'll just milk it till then.
yeah, man. It's this is not a good year for the wallet. You know, definitely a good year for games and gamers, but definitely not for the bank account. Um, I'm a big proponent of waiting for games to go on sale before I get them, unless of course there's something that I really really want. Case in point, Tears of the Kingdom.
Yeah.
But I think Final Fantasy 16, man, I think this is going to be a day one purchase for me.
Tears of the Kingdom is day one purchase.
Now, Tears of the Kingdom was a day one purchase for
Oh,
me, but this Final Fantasy 16 coming up, this is going to be a day one purchase for me.
oh yeah, so you're stoked on that, huh?
Yeah, oh yeah, yeah. I'm a big Final Fantasy guy.
Did you play through like 15 and all that?
So I played 15. I didn't play through it. I really didn't get into 15 that much. Um, I really wanted to like it, but for whatever reason, man, it just did not. It didn't relate to me, so I just kind of stopped playing it.
Dude, I seen a lot of hate online when it came out about the footage of them riding in a car. Apparently, for some reason, people had a lot of issues with them riding around in a car in the
Yeah,
trailer,
yeah.
whatever it was. I never played it, so I don't know, but I
Oh,
seen
okay, yeah,
that car
yeah. You
get a
got a
lot of hate.
vehicle in there. Yeah, there's definitely a vehicle in there. But it's I don't know it for whatever reason like it was really the combat. Um, I might have to just go back and revisit it and like actually play through it. But for me, like the combat was just it didn't resonate with me, and that was really what it kind of made it tedious for me to play it.
Is that the first Final Fantasy that came out with that got rid of turn-based matchmaking?
Um, I don't know to be honest with you. Might be that might have been the one because yeah, Final Fantasy 14 was the MMO,
Yeah.
and 13 was the one on the PS3 and the 360 that had the other sequels. But that was they introduced the paradigm shift in that one.
Yeah, I think the turn-based combat for me is what turned me off of the series altogether. I haven't played any since Final Fantasy X, way back on the PS2. I'm kind of excited to get into this and see what it's all about.
Yeah, I'm actually I prefer the turn-based. Funnily enough, my favorite Final Fantasy is Final Fantasy X, and I know that's probably one of those controversial hot takes because most people they have their favorite is 6 or 7, which I thought those were great, but for me, I don't know. Like Final Fantasy X was just like it for me.
Yeah, I think 10 is one I played most of out of all of them. I think I played a little bit of 7 at my buddy's house, but then I got 8 myself, and I think I might have put a couple hours into it when I was a kid, but I never really finished it. I never got deep into it at all.
Yeah. So for the longest time when I was younger, I had no idea how to play role playing games. I had no idea about like you're supposed to like go and fight stuff to level up. I just always advanced from like one area to the next area that you were supposed to, and I would always die. Um,
And wonder
so I was
why.
like, man, this ain't fun. I keep dying. But then the one game that actually taught me how to play role playing games was Chrono Trigger, and I was back on the Super Nintendo. So once I learned about that, grinding in that game was actually really fun. Going forward, any other RPG after that, I was like, oh, okay, you gotta level up a bit, you know, grind some of these battles, get your skills up, and then move forward.
Yep. Yep. Would you think it can't be? I'm a novice when it comes to like hardcore um role playing games, but do you think Final Fantasy is the first series to kind of introduce that grind mechanic to it? Like you got to level up before you go any further in the game.
Well, so when I growing up, my first console was the original Nintendo, and on that console they had, and I can't remember to right off the top of my head, I can't remember what came out first, but I remember the three big RPGs on the original Nintendo, at least for me, were Dragon Warrior, um, Ultima Exodus, and then Final Fantasy. Dragon Warrior and Ultima Exodus both have that turn-based grind type of leveling up. So
With
I
the
don't
leveling system and everything.
correct. So I don't know which of those three came first. So it's very possible that Final Fantasy is the one that introduced it, at least to the Americas. But again, I could be wrong on that.
Yeah, well, that's the only thing that's getting me into 16 right now is the I don't know what would you call it? Just a free kind of combat or
I,
whatever.
I would I would consider it just action RPG.
That's right.
You know, yeah. I don't. So I've heard some people describe it similar to Devil May Cry.
Hmm.
I don't think it's quite that. Um, but I think it's going to be close. So they had the Stranger of Paradise, like that spin-off of Final Fantasy came out what about a year ago, maybe 2 years ago, and I think the combat is going to be kind of similar to that, where it's kind of like the Breath of the Wild combat, kind of like Elden Ring, Dark Souls type.
Yep.
Um, and at least that's just based. That's my thought based on what I've seen. Um, One of the things I think is really cool about this though is the all the accessibility features that they're adding. So if somebody wanted to get into this game, but let's say that they don't have enough time to, grind and do all this other stuff, there's going to be a lot of accessibility features in the game that are going to help you do that. You're going to be able to grind up. Um, they have stuff that so like the new materials and stuff they have. You're gonna be able to set up like an auto leveling system on those, so you won't have to worry about, hey, should I allocate points here? Should I allocate points there? Whatever. It's
Oh,
just
that's
going to go ahead
good.
and take care of it for you.
That's good because that, like when I get into games like that where I got to figure out which points to allocate to which attributes and stuff, kind of stresses me out. It's like, man, I want to upgrade my charisma to sweet talk people, but I don't want to be weak either. I want to upgrade that strength and agility and stuff. So it's good
Yeah,
they
man.
take that decision making away from you.
Yeah. So I noticed a lot of games now that are coming out. They have a lot of accessibility options, and I think that's fantastic, man. I think that's really good. Um, one of the examples I could provide that like I personally used was The Last of Us Part 1. So it was actually like the actual Last of Us on the PS5 that just got re-released about a year ago or so.
For
Um,
$70.
yeah, for $70. but but you see, since I don't pay full price for the games, you got to wait for them sales. So that was a $20 purchase for me.
Yep.
Which I mean, probably still overpaid that $20, but I love The Last of Us, so that was okay.
Oh yeah.
Some of the features they have in there, the accessibility features, they have where you could like they have like auto aim. Um, you could slow down time, so when you're aiming at the clickers, like as soon as you aim down the sights on your weapon, time slows down, so you could shoot like whatever the polyps are. You get them domes.
Makes it easier,
Like
huh? Wow.
yeah, yeah. Um, they have an option where you could pretty much be invisible. You go into like your listening mode and nobody bothers you. So you could just walk from place to place and not have to worry about getting attacked or anything like that.
Really?
So for me, that was a welcome addition because I had previously played through The Last of Us on the PS3
Yep.
and then again on the PS4. So this is the third console I'm playing through The Last of Us on. And that's a nice little feature just to not have to worry about like that grind that we were talking about.
Yeah. Oh yeah. That's kind of what turns me off of some games is the grind. Like I've never fully played through The Witcher. I would love to, don't get me wrong, but every time I jump in, I feel like there's just so much things to do and so many items to craft and so many side missions here and there. I got to level up before I go to a certain story mission, and it's just too much for me. So I've never actually finished the entire Witcher 3.
Yeah, no, I'm with you on that, man. So I've beat The Witcher 3, but I haven't beaten The Witcher 3, if you know what I mean.
Like
So
you've finished the story, but you haven't actually did everything that
yeah,
they like all the side quests and stuff.
correct. So with the PS5 upgrade for The Witcher 3, I thought about going back and playing through the DLC for it. But I mean, everything else started coming out, man. So it's just like that's on the list, and I'm going to get to that eventually. But right now I think there's a couple of more things that are taking priority.
Yep, I get that. Um, Man, I just had something on my mind I want to bring up. Street Fighter 6. That just came out last week. I know you're a huge Street Fighter fan. Did you pick it up? Are you playing it, or what do you think?
So I have not gotten it yet. So this will actually be the first Street Fighter game that I have not gotten on day one, and the reason for that is as I'm getting older, I'm playing online multiplayer less and less, and personally, I feel like a game like that is meant to be played online.
Yeah.
Granted, it's going to have a good campaign and all that stuff, um, and you're going to get your money's worth playing against the computer. But for me, I'm just going to be playing one-on-one battles against the computer, so I can't justify spending $70 on that when I'm not going to play it online. But
Yeah. I can't get into the online world in those type of games. I will get my rear end handed to me real quick.
yeah, and these guys that are playing online are just, man, they are so good.
Yeah.
And it's just it becomes discouraging, to be completely honest with you.
Oh yeah.
But I encourage anybody, man. Like I played the demo of it, and I mean, game looks gorgeous. Um, they have like that commentary feature in there now, where they have like the guest commentators. Um, so it's more like you're watching like Evo or like one of those fighting tournaments where you have two people competing, and then you have other people doing like the commentary in the background. Um, really,
Really?
really, yeah, yeah.
Wow. That's
Um,
interesting.
so Zelina Vega from WWE is actually one of the commentators on there.
Really? Now, are
Yeah,
they like
yeah.
characters in the game? You see them, or they're just
No, 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 no,
voices?
no. Yeah, they're just voices. So like what ends up happening is like you set up your game, you choose your stage or whatever, and then like they have a commentary option that you can keep on or off. If you turn it on, then you could select which commentator you want to have like commentating your fight.
Wow. That's pretty cool. I never thought that's interesting for a fighting game like that.
Yeah, and I could be wrong, man, but I think this is the first time they've done this. I think this is the first time like a fighting game has had a commentary feature like this.
Oh man, the last fighting game I got was Mortal Kombat 10 on Xbox, and I had to put that one up on the shelf when my wife came in here and beat me in it. she beat me like a redheaded stepchild, man.
Oh
I was
man.
I've been trying to get her into gaming, and years ago she was like, "Oh, I like fighting games," and the Mortal Kombat 10 had just went on sale. I think I got it for like $20 or something. So I went and got it, brought it home, we hooked it up. We were 1, 2, 3 games in, and I think she beat me every time. I'm just not the fighting games are not my thing.
Yeah, I used to be a big fighting game guy, and again, getting older, them reflexes aren't as fast as they used to be,
Dude, I
and
know. I'm proud of
for
myself
me,
for still hanging in there for like the Call of Duties and stuff. Those
oh yeah,
sweaty
dude,
Twitch shooters.
yeah, I can't anymore. Now I'm that guy that comes in last. I'm like my kill death ratio is like 1 in 50. Um, so
And you
like
got 12 and 13-year-olds talking trash to you.
yeah. So the last time I played, man, I had some like 8-year-old kid cut a promo on me over voice chat. So I was just like, all right, maybe this ain't for me anymore.
Dude, I feel you. It sucks getting older.
Yeah. But with
um,
the mechanics in the fighting games now, man, for me, it's just like it's too much. You know what I mean? Like you have like so many like X factors and like juggles and infinite combos you could do, and like that's cool to a point, but that's a lot to learn.
oh yeah.
You know,
Like
and
it's like you want to take your time and play every character, but you only have enough time in the day to study like one character's moveset because each one has different moves.
yeah, and if I didn't play anything else, if I was just focused on like one game, it might be a little bit different because then I would have time to just focus on that. But you know, as a game collector, that backlog is just always screaming. So like to me, there's always something to play, and it's just like, man, do I invest all my time doing this, or do I move on to something else, or do I invest a little bit of time here and a little bit of time there and a little bit of time there?
Yeah, then you add a wife and kid in the mix. I know you don't have a kid, but you add one of those in the mix and you're struggling. And a full-time job.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And I work for a software company, so I'm behind a computer screen 8 hours a day, 5 days a week. And to be honest, man, the last thing I want to do when I get off work is sit in front of the TV and play a game. Got to
Yeah.
decompress a little bit, man. Get myself a couple hours, have some dinner, chill with the wife a bit. Then it's like, okay, calm down a little bit. Let's get some gaming time in. But
Yeah.
by the time I do that, you know, we're heading into 10, 11 o'clock at night. You know, being a responsible adult,
It's
you
time
make
to go
sure
to
you get to
bed.
bed on time so you wake up early, get to work. So,
uh hey, something else I kind of pissed me off when I seen it today, but I was laying in bed last night scrolling through Twitter and I seen ad for the collector's edition Spider-Man 2 coming out October 20th. So they got a pretty nice Venom statue in there, and it's pretty sweet. I was like, man, that looks so cool. I want to get it. I was really thinking about getting it. Then I scroll down a little bit and I see it comes with a steel case, nice steel case for displaying. But the game they give you is a digital copy of the game, and that pissed me off right there. I'm like, why are you gonna give me a steel book first of all with a digital code? Am I gonna put the little digital code inside the steel case and display that?
yeah, that is. So I saw that too, and I think it's going for what, like 220, 230,
Yep,
something like that.
230. Yep.
Um, to me, man, that is just super overpriced. Um, you know what I mean? Like it's just you're not getting a physical copy of the game.
Yep.
So like, I mean, hey, knock off $30. You know what I mean? Bring it down to like a solid 200. Maybe
Hmm.
180. Like I get it, man. Like that statue, really,
That
really nice.
that thing is
But
sick.
the steel book, I mean, I guess, hey, it looks cool on the shelf, but like you're not gonna do anything with it. But most people are going to end up getting that and turning around and buying a physical copy of the game anyway.
Uh-huh.
So immediately they're dropping close to $300 on the collector's edition plus a physical game. So I just, yeah, I'm not with the collector's editions like that anymore, man.
Yeah, and this whole going all digital thing, like it's inevitable. It's gonna happen one day. Probably the next generation is gonna be completely digital games. But I hate it. I want to fight it as much as I can. Um, I feel like just when you buy a digital copy of a game, you don't truly own that game.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely.
Like they shut down the stores in some of these consoles, like the PS3. Whatever you bought digitally, they say like, oh, if you bought it, you can still log on and download it, whatever. But how long until they shut that down, and then you don't have access to those games anymore? But I feel like these big game companies want to do that to re-release and then sell it again later down the line. So you're buying the same thing multiple times.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. The digital age, man, it makes me sad, but it's just it's inevitable. Um, then you got the companies like limited run games, and I for a while I was a big fan of limited run games, but you know, I feel like companies like that, they like to create that artificial scarcity.
Yeah.
And there's been several times already where I think Streets of Rage 4 was one of the most like recent examples I could think of, um, where limited run was like, hey, listen, limited run, digital copy only, blah, 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 blah. And then the publisher went and released their own physical copy. So now you're paying like 60, $70 or like whatever else for the limited run copy. Or you could get the copy from the publisher from like your brick and mortar, Best Buy, Target, Walmart
Yeah.
for like $50 or whatever. I understand they're including like extras and all this stuff, but I'm sorry, man. Like them stickers or like whatever you have, those aren't worth
Yeah.
25, $30, man.
I don't care about them stickers.
Yeah, yeah. So it's I get a little disappointed, man, because I think it's a missed opportunity with that collector's edition. I would like to see at least maybe release two different versions of it, one digital and then one for physical,
Yep.
because I know I have a lot of friends who are physical collectors, and I know they just stopped getting collector's editions altogether because it's just not worth it. Hey, here's, I got these cool statues and stuff like that, but I have a digital copy of the game. The whole point of collecting is to have that physical stuff.
Yeah. Oh yeah. And I don't think it bodes well that all the rumors I'm seeing online with the I don't know if it's going to be a PS5 Pro or what, but it's going to be like a new model, I guess, comes out, no disk drive. They're going to be selling a detachable disk drive. So I think they're going to discontinue this physical disk drive version of the PS5 that came out like 3 years ago now.
Yeah, I mean, I could see that happening. I really could. I kind of wish they would do that with the Series S. I've got that Xbox Series S, and I do like it, but I've got a pretty big Xbox One, Xbox 360 physical collection, and I just don't. I can't see myself buying a Series X, um, especially with how infrequently I use my Series S. So if they did something like that with the Xbox, man, I would be on board with buying that attachment
Mm-hmm.
just to have that. Maybe like $200 for that attachment. I'd be okay with that.
I think I haven't upgraded from the Xbox One X yet. I still have my Xbox One X, and I got my PS5, but I'm waiting on the Xbox Series X. I think the one game that might sell me on that console is going to be Starfield, depending on how that looks in the next couple months when we start releasing more footage of it and get to see more information about it.
Yeah, definitely excited about Starfield, man. Definitely keeping my expectations in check, though. I thought this last game that came out, Redfall, was going to be. Looking at the previews and stuff for it, I thought that was going to be the next thing. I was like, man, that looks great, and
They got
I
you.
haven't played it. Yeah, and I mean it just bombed, man.
Did you get it?
And it's no. So I could play it on Game Pass,
Hmm.
but I try not to get Game Pass because I just have so much other stuff to play. So then, like, if I get Game Pass, then I just have like this never ending cycle of, hey, what am I going to play next? What am I going to play next? And me being a primarily PlayStation player, I've got the PlayStation Plus, like, premium.
Yep.
So with that, I mean, there's already tons of games with that also, which is very similar to the Game Pass. So I just I sat out on that one. I was waiting to see the reviews and everything on there just to see how it was going to be, and they were all disappointing. So I was like, okay, that's probably something I could wait for quite a while to play.
Oh yeah, I get it. I get it. I'm with you. Um, so I'm curious to get your thoughts on Summer Game Fest yesterday. I know we talked a little bit about it before, but it sounds like you weren't too impressed.
Yeah, man. I I'm not really sure what I was expecting, but there was just a lot of. Let's start with some of the pros. All right, and these are all my opinion. I know there's some people that are not going to agree with these, and that's okay. These are my thoughts. This is my opinion. Um, I thought what was great was there's a lot of announcements.
Hmm.
I think they announced like 40 something games. Hey, that's great. Um, One of the ones that really stood out was the new Sonic game. Um, I think that's going to be a banger when it comes out.
Yeah.
I like big Sonic fan, but I like classic Sonic, man. Give
Yep.
me a Sega Genesis with the original Sonic the Hedgehog, Sonic 2.
I don't
Let's
feel
do it.
like I don't feel like Sonic is meant to be in an open world format type of game.
No. And I think so. I will say I did like Sonic Adventure on the Dreamcast. I thought that was and that not that that's open world, but that style of game I thought worked really well.
Yep.
But then we started seeing the one that came out like on the 360 and the PS3. I think it was just like Sonic the Hedgehog, and it was he was like saving a princess or something like that. Man, just like really odd. And I mean, like the game was just terrible. And pretty much ever since then, it was just like bad Sonic game after bad Sonic game. And then
Did you check out Frontiers?
yeah. So that was actually pretty good. That
Really?
was yeah. I didn't mind that one too much. Um, then I think they really got back to form with I think it was Sonic 4, if I'm not mistaken. I think it was Sonic the Hedgehog 4, and that was the one that came out like in two parts. Um, and then they came out with Sonic Generations. Um, that was the last one that came out, and then there was Sonic Mania that came out with also. That was Sonic Mania is the one I'm talking about. That was pretty solid. That came out on the Switch and the PS4. Yeah,
Yep. Yep.
PS4, Switch, and
What
Xbox One.
was that like a compilation of all the older games, like 1, 2, 3, pinball?
No, no. That was its own game.
Really?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
That's the one with the yellow background with Sonic, Tails, and Knuckles on the cover?
I believe so. I believe so.
Okay. Yeah, I think I actually have that one, but
Yeah. Give
it's
me one
it's in my
second, real quick.
backlog. All right.
Yeah, I'm actually gonna pull this off the shelf real quick. Give me 1 second here.
Yep. Man, we got is Luke still in here? Luke McGarry still watching? Final Fantasy 16 looks great. I agree. It's a day one purchase, and I'm gonna wait on drop prices. I'm a wait on prices kind of guy. Yeah, I hear that, buddy. I hear that. I'm a Black Friday shopper kind of guy myself. I could find a nice AAA game for 20, $30 on Black Friday. Sign me up.
Yeah, sorry about that. So, yeah, Sonic Mania Plus is the one it's called. Yep, and it's the yellow background. It's got Sonic, Tails, and Knuckles all on it.
I think I got that. I think I picked it up. I think I got it on Switch. But like you said before, it's the backlog. It'll probably be forever since I get to it.
Yeah, yeah, definitely.
But when
So
it comes to Sonic, my definitive Sonic is Sega Genesis Sonic 1. I remember I was probably, I don't know, 94, 95, probably 4 or 5 years old. Sitting in my room before we even moved to Florida. I lived on Long Island, New York. I remember sitting in my room after school playing it hours. That's my definitive Sonic right there.
yeah, man, I got to agree with you on that, man. I'm a big fan of the first Sonic the Hedgehog. While I do like the second one, it's just like that first Sonic the Hedgehog just hits that nostalgia for me, man. Growing up, I had a Super Nintendo, and one of my cousins had a Sega Genesis, so I was never privy to any of the Sega Genesis games or anything. So every time we would go over there, I would get to play Sonic the Hedgehog, and that was the first game I've ever played on Sega Genesis. With the second game being Tasmania.
I remember
So
that one. Yep.
those two games, they just like I'll always forever keep those just because I have like such like fond nostalgic memories of them.
Yep. Yep. I was a big Altered Beast fan too. I played a little bit of that when I was a kid.
Oh, Altered Beast,
The little
man.
side scroller beat 'em up game where you, I forget. I think you had to uh, beat a certain amount of enemies or collect a certain amount of collectibles or something. And then you transform into this beast and just go crazy on people. It was a good time.
Yeah, yeah, that was there was a couple of dragons that you hit and they gave you like power ups. So you powered up like two or three times and then you turn into like your beast form and then like you fought the boss or whatever. So yeah, you became like a what was it, it was like a wolf,
Yep.
a dragon, a bear. And I think that was it. There might have been one more. I can't remember though.
That's right.
But yeah, Altered Beast, man. Yeah, that was a good one.
Classic.
Yes, sir.
um, what else? What else from Summer Game Fest you looking at
Yeah,
as a
so yeah,
plus?
so circling back to the pros, man. That Mortal Kombat, you know,
Yep.
huge Mortal Kombat fan. I have to say though, I don't know how much more they could do with Mortal Kombat. Um, I mean, I'd be interested to see the story because, in my opinion, I think Mortal Kombat has some of the best campaigns for fighting games like ever. Like them stories are like super in depth. They're really good. Um, but I think the new mechanic they have is they have like guest characters.
Hmm.
So you're gonna have like you can pick like your guest characters and they could do like run-ins and all this stuff, which I kind of like that concept a little bit. But where it comes down to me, man, is the fatalities because I'm just like, what more can you do at this point?
Yeah,
Um,
they've done just about everything.
and to me, that was like the biggest selling point for like Mortal Kombat was to see like the fatalities and oh man, I can remember back when Mortal Kombat 2 came out, uh, they introduced like the friendships, babalities,
Yep.
and that was nuts. And then there was that big rumor that they had it was like the pornality or like the nudality or whatever. And it was like, oh yeah, like you get a male character and you fight a female character, and then like when it says finish him, you type in like whatever, and then like the male character rips off the female character's clothes. But
Man.
that was always BS. Um, and then in Mortal Kombat 3, we saw the introduction of the animalities, and those were dope. That
It
was
turned
just
him
like
into an animal, right?
yeah, yeah. So it was like crazy stuff, man. I remember you had Striker, I believe it was, who was the cop. Like
Yeah.
his animality was a T Rex. He turned into like a T Rex
I
dinosaur and
remember
like
that.
ate the person, man. Yeah,
Yeah. That was
yeah.
two? That was 2 or 3?
That was three. That
3.
was
Okay,
Mortal
yep.
Kombat 3.
I
Yeah,
they put for Xbox 360, the Xbox 360 arcade, they put Mortal Kombat 3, I think, on there, and that is like I played the other ones like 1 and 2 way back when I was little, but Mortal Kombat 3 is what I put the most time in on Xbox 360 arcade with Smoke. I think Smoke was in 3, right?
correct. Yep.
Yep. I played the crap out of that thing, man. I love Smoke. That was my favorite character. But I think Yeah, as far as the fatalities and everything, I agree. There's not much more they can do there. I don't think there's going to be anything groundbreaking, but I think it's a good move on their part to reboot the series almost. Just
Hmm.
call this Mortal Kombat 1. Um, like I picked up 10 and 11 and I started playing through the story and I thought it was really good. I was like, man, I think this could be better if I knew more of the lore of the other previous games,
Hmm.
which I never got into too much. Um, so I think I'm more of a Mortal Kombat guy than Street Fighter guy. So I think I'm gonna pick up the new Mortal Kombat, check it out. Um, but I'm excited for that. I'm excited for the story mode campaign.
Yeah,
See where they go with it.
yeah, definitely, man. It looks really good. So I'm definitely looking forward to that one. Then we got the announcement of Final Fantasy VII Rebirth.
Yep, yep.
Man, that looked really good, man. It looks it almost looks like an open world, man. It looks like I realize this one takes place outside of Midgar because like the whole like the first part of like the Final Fantasy VII remake was you in Midgar.
Yep.
Now you're out and it's just like the world is just huge.
I
So I'm
saw
curious
that.
to see if it's gonna have like some open world elements or if like it's just gonna look really big and be like super linear. Like I'm curious, man. Like I'm ready to see it, man. Got me hyped.
Well, I
Pretty excited
know
about that one.
it's gonna be a massive game. That's for sure. It's coming on 2 discs, from what they say.
Hmm.
So there's gonna be um, I think there's gonna be a lot to it. Now you played through the first one, the first remake.
Yeah.
Wow. See, I haven't even done that. I got it on the PS Plus, I think, and I
Hmm.
played through it a couple hours, and I haven't even finished it yet. Threw it on the
Yeah. So
backlog.
I haven't played the PS5 version, which like I know it's just the PS4 version with like better frame rate, and I think there's like a couple extra missions and stuff.
Yep.
Um, but yeah, back like I played it on the PS4 Pro, and that game had my my PS4 singing. You heard that fan go and that
Yeah.
because that was a beefy game, man. So I owe it to myself to go back and play it again, like on the PS5, playing with that good frame rate and the new content and stuff. So I'm gonna get to that eventually. So probably closer to when Rebirth comes out, which I think it said early 2024.
Hmm.
So my guess is probably going to be like around maybe March. So maybe like February, probably pick up the previous one and play through that again just to have that fresh in my mind when I go through this new playthrough.
Yeah, with 16 coming out at the end of this month, I don't see them putting that out before 2024 at least. I don't think they want to step on 16 in the holiday season and everything.
No, no, definitely not. I mean, I got to be honest, man. I was surprised that they showed that.
Yeah.
I've been seeing the rumors, man, of a Final Fantasy IX remake. Um, so I was actually kind of expecting them to announce that more so than the Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, just because with Final Fantasy 16 being so huge, now you're announcing like another huge installment into the Final Fantasy series. That's I don't know, man. Like I hope people don't get fatigued. I hope they don't have that Final
Yeah.
Fantasy fatigue.
And they're putting
Because
out the first the collection of the first like 4 or 5, right?
yeah, so yeah, they got that out already. That Pixel
Oh,
remasters.
okay, okay.
Um, yeah, so they have that. You could buy that. Actually, I don't know if you could buy it physically. I think it's pretty hard to find, but they have on the store, man. You could buy them a la carte. You could start with those, and those have accessibility options also. So they have like you could. I think it's like quick level up, fast forward, like all this other stuff. So those games are pretty much getting rid of that grind. So if anybody was interested in checking those out, trying to get to an entry point in the Final Fantasy series, I think that would be a good starting point. Is with the Pixel remasters.
Nice. Um,
Uh,
do you have another pro for Summer Game Fest, or
yeah, man. So the last couple pros I got, man, was the Spider-Man release date.
oh, yep, yep.
Um,
You could tell. I feel like Sony and PlayStation kind of um just threw that at was it Jeff Keighley that runs the Summer Game Fest? Like here,
yeah,
you could have the release date. Because there's no reason why they couldn't show that a few weeks ago at their own presentation.
Yeah, you know what I mean. Like, yeah, I don't understand the logic behind that, but yeah, that's above my pay grade.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, I'm excited about that, man. So now it's fall time is pretty much filled up. Um, so the last thing too was the that Twisted Metal preview that they showed for the show coming out on Peacock.
Yeah.
I was so I know when they announced it, I was kind of curious. I was like, well, how are they going to do this? And I'm kind of excited, man. I'm a big Twisted Metal fan, and I think this is going to be something with that over the top, like hardcore, like slapstick comedy, like that slapstick dark comedy.
Yeah.
Um,
I really liked Sweet Tooth.
yeah, Samoa Joe, man.
That's him?
Samoa,
Oh, I
Samoa
didn't know
Joe, Sweet
that.
Tooth. Yeah,
God,
yeah,
that's crazy.
yeah. But the voice is somebody else. The voice, I think it's like Will Arnett, if I'm not
Yep,
mistaken.
it is. I saw that
Yeah.
today.
So that's pretty excited about that. So what about you, man? What are your pros for from SGF?
You hit the nail on the head with I only had really two that came out of it for me: the new Sonic and Mortal Kombat 1.
Right on, right on.
I'm really curious to hear your what you didn't like about this. Like
Ooh.
when I talk to you, you school me on almost everything. Like I've been gaming my entire life, but you think about things more in depth than I ever would. I could look at something like, yeah, I don't like that. But you put more thought into it. So I like listening to you talk about stuff you don't like.
Yeah, well, I appreciate that, man. I do. So my cons, man, is like there wasn't really anything that like particularly stood out. Granted, yes, I had my list of pros that and again, that was my opinion. That was to me, that was probably the most stuff that stuck out. But as I stated, there was a lot of announcements, and my pro list was like 5 things. So I think out of like 42 announcements, only 5 things stuck out.
Yep.
Man, um, one of the things like Fortnite, hey, here's like the new season of Fortnite or whatever. Listen, I understand people like Fortnite,
Yeah.
cool. Like I will never hate on somebody for playing Fortnite or liking Fortnite, but to announce that during like a summer games fest, like
Yeah. Especially since the game's been out for what, 5, 6, 7 years already?
yeah. And I get
God.
like, the new Transformers movies coming out, so they got the Optimus Prime gimmick.
Yeah.
Okay, like I get it. Um Alan Wake 2, I so disclaimer, I've never played Alan Wake, so I'm not gonna say I dislike it because I don't know enough about it.
Yep.
I'm a little concerned though because the release date on that, if I believe I'm correct, is October 17th. Spider-Man comes out on the 20th. So if that's the case, Alan Wake 2 is gonna get lost in the sauce. Like
And it looks good.
yeah, it does.
But
It looks excellent. But
if you put both of them side by side right in front of me, and I have to pick which one I'm gonna play, I'm gonna spend $70 on a play. That's Spider-Man all day. Spider-Man 2.
yeah, definitely. And for me, as good as Alan Wake looked, I just Alan Wake 2, I should say. It, I don't know, like it seemed a little generic to me. And again, this is my opinion. I'm sure that there's people out there who are hardcore fans of the Alan Wake series.
Yep.
Me, that's what I thought. Um, One of the other things was the announcement of that John Carpenter's game, Toxic Commando.
Yeah.
I mean,
Looks like
I'm
a Left 4
sorry,
Dead
man.
clone almost.
Yeah, so like I don't know, man. It just it didn't hit with me. You know, back in the 360 PS3 era, there was a John Carpenter's game called Jericho, and it kind of almost looked similar to Toxic Commando, but the difference between Toxic Commando and Jericho was Jericho took place, I think, in like I think it was like a fictitious like Israel or something, and you're fighting like demons, like kind of like a lot of like religious undertones, demons, like that kind of stuff. You had 6 people, you could control 6 different people. They all had their different abilities and stuff. I don't remember if it had multiplayer. I'm like 90% sure it had multiplayer. I just can't remember because it was a long time ago. But seeing Toxic Commando kind of reminded me of Jericho, but I don't know. I think that's probably going to end up being like another live service game or something like that. That's just going to kind of fall by the wayside.
Yeah.
And again, that's just my opinion. That's just how I felt about it. There might be people out there who are like, oh man, day one purchase. Hey, if you're going to buy it day one, cool. More power to you.
Yep. No, I agree. I saw it and I was like, oh, looks kind of interesting. Like it might be fun to jump in for a couple hours with some friends and just mow down a horde of zombies for an hour or two. But that's nothing you're gonna play for an extended amount of time. And I damn sure wouldn't pay over like $15-20 for it.
Yeah, yeah. Then Sandland, that was like that anime game.
There's a lot of anime style games there, wasn't there? I
Yeah,
got the feeling like there's a lot of animated, like anime style and not so anime style, but a lot of like cartoonish looking games. And I'm not a big fan of that style of game.
yeah. Neither am I. And again, like my opinion, somebody could be, oh my god, I've been waiting for this or whatever.
Yep.
That's cool. These are my takes, my opinions. The other one, Path of Exile. I thought it looked badass, man. I was like, ooh, Path of Exile. Man, Diablo 4 just came out.
Yeah.
Diablo is nuts. Diablo just looks so good. Like, plays good, looks good. And I don't know, seeing Path of Exile just made me think of Diablo. And I wish I wouldn't have. I wish I would be like, oh, Path of Exile.
I saw that and I thought the same exact thing. I said that looks like that looks like a cheap knockoff of Diablo.
Yeah. So I've again, I've never played the first one. Again, my opinion. So that's literally what I thought of. I just immediately was like, oh, okay, Diablo. And then the last thing for me was the Lies of P, which was like that Pinocchio game.
Yep.
And they described it as like a Souls-like Pinocchio game. So anybody who knows me knows I'm obsessed with the Souls series.
You're on your like 33rd playthrough of Souls 2 or something, ain't you?
Yep. Yeah. Absolutely adore the Souls series. And listen, I like the Souls-like games. I just they just never do it for me, man. They just never scratch that itch. They come close. I think probably the closest one for me was Neo. That's probably the one that has like been like the quote unquote closest to like a Souls-like game for me.
Yeah.
But we've had Mortal Shell, which I had a buddy of mine was like, oh man, this is gonna be the Souls killer. No, man, it wasn't. Like,
not even close.
Controls were clunky. Lords of the Fallen, I know they have a new Lords of the Fallen coming out in a few months, but Lords of the Fallen previously came out for the Xbox One and the PS4, and that was supposed to be one of those Souls-like games, and man, it just didn't hit, So I kind of like the environment in Lies of P. I kind of like that almost like steampunk type looking, but I just don't know about it. I'm just like, maybe it's like the wrong time or something.
Yeah.
But one redeeming thing I will say is that there's a demo of it, which I downloaded. I haven't played it yet, but I did download it. So I'm hoping to get to that sometime tonight.
Yeah, that was released yesterday, right?
Yeah. Yep.
Maybe I'll download and check it out too. But they showed Baldur's Gate 3 there. And that looked pretty good for me, but I've never played 1 and 2. Have you had any experience in that series, or can you like explain to me? Okay.
So I wish I could. Unfortunately, I'm not privy to the Baldur's Gate series at all. So that was actually, I was gonna pick that game up about a year ago because they had, I think it's like 1 and 2, like whatever the remake was. That's like on the PS4. They had it on sale at Best Buy for like $15, And I was like, oh man, let me get that because I'll play it eventually. But then I just decided not to because, hey, I'm going to play it eventually means I'm probably never going to play it.
Yeah.
So
Throw it on the
I kind of
backlog.
passed on that one. Yeah.
That
So
long, long list.
wish I could elaborate a little bit more on that, but unfortunately I can't.
No, we'll see more, I'm sure. But that's the one that's got me intrigued the most, I think.
Yeah.
I think the problem with Summer Games Fest is the same kind of problem that was wrong with E3 the last few years that was around. Since the dawn of the internet and all this live streaming stuff, all these big AAA developers and Sony and Xbox and Nintendo, they're all going to do their own shows. They're not going to show off their next big AAA game at another company show. In my opinion, they're going to show it off at their own thing and get all those advertising dollars to themselves.
Yeah, definitely, man. So I mean, overall, man, like I didn't think it was terrible. I just I didn't think it was great.
Yeah.
So what are some things you would have liked to have seen, man? Like what did you have anything in mind? Was there anything that you might have had some expectations that you thought you might have seen at Summer Games Fest?
So, not necessarily Summer Games Fest. I have more so for the Xbox Showcase. I wasn't really expecting much from Summer Game Fest just because what I just said. I understand what it is. Like big games aren't gonna be shown there for the most part. They might show one. Like they didn't even show any much new footage for Spider-Man 2. They just showed the release date and said, "Here you go." But I didn't have very many expectations. Did you have something in mind that you were like, "Man, I hope they show this"?
No, so the one thing I thought they were gonna announce would have been a Final Fantasy 16 demo. So with Final Fantasy 16 coming out in like 2 weeks, I thought for sure Summer Games Fest would have had a little bit more info on there, and then like drop the hey demo now available kind of thing.
That's true. They didn't do anything for 16, right?
No. So we saw the mobile game, the Final Fantasy mobile game, which I was just like,
mobile games are my kryptonite.
Yeah. I just that just I lost my interest. Like I saw that, I was just like,
yeah.
And then they announced the Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, so I was kind of like, oh, all right. But another thing I was kind of hoping for, man, was some of that Elden Ring DLC.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, like I'm ready, man. I'm ready to jump back into Lothric, man, and whatever because I'm playing Dark Souls, so Lothric is in Dark Souls. I can't remember what the world is in Elden Ring, but I want to jump back in there, man. Give us some DLC, man. Come on.
Yeah, you mentioned DLC. I'm curious because Breath of the Wild had DLC late in. It's not late, but a year or two after it was released, they put out some DLC to get interest sparked back up in it. But I'm curious DLC if they're gonna do any DLC for Tears of the Kingdom now.
Yeah, I would. I mean, I'm not gonna lie, man. I'd love to see some DLC for Tears of the Kingdom eventually. The DLC that came out for Breath of the Wild, I had purchased it when it came out, like way back when. And I got to be honest, man, I never played it.
Really?
I downloaded it and I was like, yeah, I'm gonna get to it, and then it never happened. So
I never even bought it.
I almost thought about going back and trying to play it. I just, after playing Tears of the Kingdom, I don't think I'm going to be able to play Breath of the Wild.
Oh yeah. I don't blame you there. I'm the same way. As soon as I cranked up Tears of the Kingdom, and I haven't played Breath of the Wild in a couple years either, but I was like, yeah, this is it. I ain't no going back to Breath of the Wild after this.
Yeah. So like I said at the beginning of the podcast, man, I finished my playthrough earlier this week of Tears of the Kingdom, and I'm still playing it. Like I'm just going back and like finding more shrines and doing just random stuff, having fun building, doing just silly crap, just having a good time. Where this weekend we're actually heading to Philadelphia, and I'm bringing the Switch with me along with some Tears of the Kingdom.
Mm-hmm.
So in the hotel room at night, I'm going to be creating some stuff and yep, just searching, just having a good time, man.
Yeah, man. Yeah, I've definitely been staying up late the past couple weeks, just getting some time in on it. So is that it for Summer Games Fest? I don't really have much more there.
Yeah, I think that's it on my end, man. You know what I mean? Like, I think the gist of it was like, yeah, it
Yeah,
was mid. It was a
I'm
mid show.
at the end of the day, I'm glad it's still around. I'm glad there's a platform for companies, like especially indie companies, come together and show their games and stuff. But at the same time, but Xbox has a showcase this Sunday,
Yes,
and
sir.
I have quite a bit in a few notes, for what I want to see there. What are you some what is your primary prediction what they're gonna show there?
Um, so I think we're gonna get some more info on Fable 4.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I think they're gonna show off. I think they might have a release date for that. Um, one of the things I'm hoping for is I would like to see a Fable remaster collection similar to the Halo Master Chief collection. So we have Fable 1, 2, and 3, updated graphics and stuff for the Series X, Series
Haven't
S.
they confirmed that they're doing that? I thought that was like
I
confirmed already.
I don't know. I don't know.
I've definitely
But
seen rumors about it.
really, okay. So that's something that I would like to see. So hopefully, if that is true, like we'll get some confirmation of that. Um, then I think probably one of the other big things we're gonna see is I have a feeling, man. I think we're gonna see Gears of War 6.
Ooh, yeah, it's been a
Yeah,
while since 5, right?
it has been. It's been a few years, so I have a feeling we're gonna see Gears of War 6. Um, I'd be kind of excited about that. I'm a big Gears of War fan. I prefer the original trilogy,
Mm-hmm.
with one Gears of War 1 being my absolute favorite.
Yep.
Um, 4 and 5 are okay, but 5 for me it got real repetitive. I called it the Arkham Knight curse.
Oh yeah.
So if you play Arkham Knight, it's you start driving the Batmobile, you do one mission with the Batmobile, and then like that one mission just becomes Arkham Batmobile. Like the whole game is like these Batmobile missions. So I
You're
kind
just
of felt
driving
that
around
way.
the city.
Yeah, yeah. You get like this skiff type thing, and it's like a semi open world game.
Yeah.
They got like a couple like side missions and stuff. And I mean, it was just it it didn't do it for me.
Yep.
Like I enjoyed the story and stuff, but like I was when I beat the game, I was like well overdue, ready to beat the game already. So I was ready for it to end. So
Yep.
here's to hoping we see a Gears of War 6.
Oh.
And I would kind of like to see a remaster, man, of 2 and 3.
Yep.
Because they have the Gears Ultimate Edition of the first one. Um, I'd like to see them do that treatment with 2 and 3.
Um. Yeah, that'd be sweet. I'd like if they bundle 1, 2, and 3 together and release them like all remastered, like in one package. I might pick that up because I don't think I got the definitive edition for Xbox One. I'm not sure. Um, but I'm curious in 5. I'd never played 5. I never even played 4. In 5, I know wasn't that Marcus Phoenix's daughter in the story?
No, it's his son. So
Oh,
Gears of
okay.
War 4 starts the story with his son. Yeah, and then
Who's the female character in the 5th one then?
so that's Kat. She's in the fourth one also.
Oh.
So it turns out that um, if I remember correctly, I don't I don't want to say too much because I don't want to spoil it for you. I don't want to spoil it for anybody who might be listening either. But she ends up being related to somebody important in the
Mm.
series. That's not Marcus Phoenix. I'll just
That's
say
not
that.
Marcus Phoenix.
I'll leave it at that.
Okay, okay. Nice. Um all right, some Gears action. I like it. Um let me see. So I saw this week. It was pretty funny. Adam Greenberg, um I guess he's the vice president of marketing or something for Xbox or Microsoft or somebody. He tweeted out this week, there won't be any movie or TV trailers at our game showcase, like kind of taking a shot at Sony, I think. I thought that was pretty funny. Even though,
Oh
like
man.
I enjoyed I mean, so I have no dog in the fight when it comes to Gran Turismo 7, not and the movie they're coming out with. I'm not a big racing game guy. But I thought that was pretty funny. And yesterday I was really stoked to see that Twisted Metal, like you said. Um, but yeah, I guess Xbox ain't putting out any trailers for any movies or anything during their showcase.
Yeah, I think they I try to avoid the console wars, man. I'm a gamer, so like I play everything. I play primarily on my PS5, but I have all my consoles hooked up,
Yep.
and I mean, I don't discriminate against any of them. But I kind of feel like Xbox really needs to have a strong showing on
Yeah.
Sunday.
Yep.
I think they need to bring some heat, man, because they even came out, man, and said, hey, like we know we're not going to release any games that are going to sell consoles and stuff like that. So, I think their strategy with gaming is going to be significantly different than your Nintendo and your Microsoft. I'm sorry, Sony. Um, so I'm very interested to see
Yeah.
what they're doing.
Especially when a lot of their first party titles go straight to PC Game Pass like same day too.
Yeah,
They're not
yeah,
really banking on any and people buying the Xbox because you could play all those games on PC pretty much too.
yeah, yeah. No, you're absolutely right. So
Um,
I think definitely, man, we're gonna see some. I think we're gonna hear a lot from Bethesda. I think we're gonna get probably hear some of Starfield.
so
See a little
Starfield
bit.
has its own, from what I understand, has its own little conference after the Xbox conference.
Correct. Yeah. So I think I don't think they're gonna touch much on Starfield. I think they're just gonna touch a little bit on there. Just maybe like, hey, like stay tuned to. So I think we're gonna see a little bit of that info there. Um, I kind of want to see them announce the Fallout 4 next gen update.
Hmm.
Um, like I'm ready for that, man. I'd like to play Fallout 4 again, in 60 frames per second. Let's get that done.
Luke in the chat says he'd like to see more of Hellblade 2. I'm
Oh
sure.
yes,
I'm sure that's coming. I'm sure that's
yeah,
gonna be a big focal point on their show on Sunday.
dude. I totally forgot about Hellblade 2 because I remember it was like probably what 3 years now, right? Probably 3 years
Mm.
when they first announced that the
Yep.
Hellblade 2. Yeah,
Yeah, it's something close to that. I remember that first kind of reveal trailer where it just showed what was her name, Sonoa or something, just her
hmm
face, a close up of her face, and she starts screaming. Like, wow, that's like phenomenal graphics, but obviously it was, computer generated. It wasn't. And I'm I'd be s- I am hoping that's what it looks like in game.
yeah, yeah. So the first game looks
Looks good.
amazing.
Looks
Yeah,
really
and I
good.
mean, like even on the One X, I think it runs at like 4K 30, or you could do like 1080p 60 frames.
Hmm.
Um, so I had actually played through that game shortly before they announced the second one. So when I saw the preview to the second one, I was just like super hyped, and then like nothing. It was just kind of like Metroid Prime 4. Remember when they announced Metroid Prime 4?
Yeah.
Like, yeah, we saw the logo, and
Yeah.
like
Haven't
25 years later, here we are,
haven't seen
still
anything yet.
waiting.
Yeah. Yeah, I played a little bit of the first game and just like the visuals were great too, but the sound, if you played it with a headset on, oh
Yes,
my god.
sir.
It
Yep.
feels like you're there. It feels like there's things all around you and it's like kind of freaky because there's a lot of screams and everything. I
Yeah,
guess
and like the whispering and stuff,
yeah.
man.
Yep.
Oh, yes.
It was crazy. But yeah, also Adam Greenberg, from what I understand, he said um there won't be any like full CGI trailers at their the conference either, which I'm stoked for because I hate when a developer brings a game trailer and it's just 100% CGI, no in-game footage, no gameplay or nothing. It's like, yeah, of course that looks great, but what is it going to look like when it releases?
Yeah, no, definitely, man. So I'm cool with the CGI trailer, but definitely give me some gameplay, man.
Yeah.
Let me see what I'm getting into.
Oh yeah, gotta see what it's gonna be like. Um, so I was watching in preparation for this. I was watching some like predictions videos from like IGN and stuff like that. I seen somebody say Fallout New Vegas 2. I know you mentioned Fallout next gen update for Fallout 4, but I guess there's some anticipation for a Fallout New Vegas 2 maybe, or a Fallout London.
So I've heard about the Fallout London, New Vegas too. I'd be interested in seeing.
Because that was a pretty
Um,
popular game, wasn't it?
it was, and for the longest time, man, there was no update for it. There was no next gen update for it. Not that it's a next gen update for it, but if you play Fallout 3 on the Xbox One X,
Hmm.
it's got like updated visuals and frame rates and stuff. And for whatever reason, New Vegas just never had that. I think fairly recently, probably within like the past couple of years, they changed that because I've got Fallout New Vegas digitally on the Series S,
Yep.
and that runs really really good. So I'm like 99% sure that there was an update on it and it's running at like 60 frames.
And maybe they're not doing Fallout New Vegas 2. Maybe they're just doing New Vegas remastered. I mean, that would probably be pretty cool, right?
Yeah, yeah, I'd be okay with that. Um, what I'd really like to see, man, is a new Elder Scrolls game, man.
Oh,
What,
six.
what they,
Elder
I mean,
Scrolls 6.
I know they won't. I know they're working on it, but it's probably like a couple of years out before they announce anything for it.
Yeah.
Especially being that they're working on Starfield.
Yep. That's what I
Because
was just about to
yes,
say. Yeah, there ain't no way they're showing. I'd say Elder Scrolls 6. Man, I'd be surprised if we see something at next summer for their presentation next summer, maybe their Xbox showcase. But I'm thinking it's probably 2 years out at least. I think Starfield's gonna be big enough to uh, kind of carry the torch for the next 2 years or so, and then they'll drop Elder Scrolls 6, and everybody will flip out about that one.
yeah.
Um, Let me see. I saw another rumor about a Hideo Kojima game. Um, Apparently he might be not working for, but like working with Xbox. Maybe develop a game for them. Maybe have you heard anything about that?
Yeah, so last year at the Xbox Game Show, they announced something with him. So I'm guessing that they're probably going to have maybe a little bit more information on that. I can't quite remember exactly what it was, but I do remember like the little trailer thing that they showed. It was just Kojima Productions, and
Hmm.
like that was like a big thing. I have no idea what it's going to be. I have no idea what it could be. Um, I don't think it's going to be something on the level of like a Death Stranding. I could be wrong though.
Yeah, yeah. Death Stranding. It was super weird at first, but once I got into it and got into the story and everything, I really started to dig it. I liked it. I played all the way through it, and I'm gonna do the same thing. I think they announced, yeah, there two's coming out. Death Stranding two's coming out. So when that comes out, I'm definitely gonna get into that.
Yeah, I never finished Death Stranding. I played it and I did like it. It was odd. It was definitely different, but
Yeah,
I had a lot of fun trying to figure out how to maneuver the boxes and stuff on his back, just
yeah,
trying to get the weight distributed because like I I was always making my stuff really tall, and then I'd always like fall over and then like lose everything, and but I did really enjoy that. I think the problem with me is I kind of guessed where the story was going,
hmm,
and I think I kind of ruined it for myself. I still don't know for sure, but I just kind of stopped playing it. So that's another game that I need to repick up and play again.
yeah. It's definitely got its elements of walking simulator, but for the most part, like the story, I think is strong enough to keep it going. Um, Cyberpunk 2077 DLC.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
I
Let's get it.
I think yeah, I think that might be shown off. Dude, I got that the Christmas it came out, I got it, and it was just the glitches were so bad I couldn't even finish it, and I haven't even been back to it since. But from what I understand, I got the PS5 version. I just haven't booted it up. But from what I understand, it's a million times better since the next gen update and everything. So I got to get back into it and maybe check out the DLC whenever it comes out.
Yeah, for sure. I know a lot of people had their issues with Cyberpunk. Glitches, everything aside, excellent game. Solid story, really fun gameplay, a lot of fun missions. Um, definitely recommend for somebody if they're thinking about it. Listen, man, you got a next gen console, you got a Series X. Probably it probably doesn't run that well on the Series S. But you got a PS5, you got an Xbox Series X, man. You got Cyberpunk on either one of those. That next gen update, that PS5 and Series X update, that's free.
Yep.
Um, get that downloaded, man, and just enjoy yourself. A lot of fun.
Heck yeah. Um, so the last thing I have here is Starfield. I know we talked about it a little bit earlier, but to sidetrack a little bit, when do you think? Because it just came to my mind. But when do you think we're going to see any kind of footage for Grand Theft Auto 6? That is probably my most anticipated um, since, I don't know, Spider-Man 2. It's probably Grand Theft Auto 6 I would probably put above Spider-Man 2 in all honesty.
Wow. So I was actually talking to a buddy of mine about this, and he seems to think that we might see something on Sunday.
From the Xbox showcase?
Yeah, yeah. I don't know though, man. I just don't really know how far they are with the game.
Yep.
I know we had those leaks about what, a year ago, maybe like 9 months ago or so.
Mhm.
There was some footage that came and got leaked or whatever. Um, if we don't see anything now, my guess is going to be there's probably going to be some type of I don't want to say Rockstar Direct, but maybe like a Sony Direct, like another PlayStation Showcase or one of those programs that they do
Yep.
like later on, maybe like in the fall, and maybe we'll see something then just to get a little bit more information.
Man, I hope so.
Yeah.
Um, I know Rockstar, I don't think that they do these marketing deals and everything, and like Sony will get the marketing rights to Grand Theft Auto 6 even though it's going to be on both systems, Xbox and PlayStation. Um
Mhm.
Sometimes they do timed exclusives. I don't see them doing it for a Grand Theft Auto, but um I'm really curious to see how the release plays out, and I can't wait to see like details on the story. And I know it's going to be like based in Vice City again, I believe,
Oh,
which
nice.
I'm stoked for. I believe it's Miami. Um, so that's like when that news of that comes out, my hype meter is going to go through the roof. I can't wait for that.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm almost embarrassed to say, man, I haven't even played through 5. Um,
Oh,
yeah, and I own 5 on 360, PS3, PS4, and the Xbox One. And I have the next gen update.
oh,
So I've got the PS5 version. Um I don't know what it is, man. I can't get into it. I get to the same part every single time, and I lose interest after that.
for me, like I've played through the game uh, when I first got on 360, and then I think I played through it again on Xbox One. But I've been wanting to go back to it with the new next gen update, but I just can't do it when I know I have to go through that long prologue or whatever in the very beginning.
Mhm.
It's like 30 or 45 minutes from, if I remember right, of it's cutscenes you can't skip, and it's just I'm like, man, I don't want to get into that again. But
So I might be wrong. I might be misspeaking when I say this, but I think you could skip those. I think with the update, I think you're able to skip those.
really,
Um,
okay,
I think so. I don't know 100% certain, but I kind of feel like you could. So I did start a playthrough on the PS5, and it runs really clean, really clean. So I do remember even on the PS4 Pro when I was playing the PS4 version, there was a couple of points where the game was hiccuping. Even at the beginning, like like when you're doing like you're breaking out of the bank or whatever it is that you are,
Yep.
um, like it was kind of hiccuping a little bit there. But on the PS5, man, it's been really really smooth, and with the driving and everything, it's really clean. I mean, it looks good, it plays good, but man, I wish I could get into it.
Yeah. That's crazy that it hiccuped a little bit on the PS4 Pro because that game was built for the 360.
Yeah, yeah,
That's kind of crazy.
yeah. So I remember playing it on the PS3, man, and that was one of those games that was putting some wear and tear on that PS3. Like you heard that fan going,
Yeah.
like
Oh
that
yeah. Oh
that
yeah.
PS3 was working overtime.
Thing was heating up.
Yeah. So what was fun about the PS3 version was with the jailbroken PS3, you have like the modded like menus and stuff for GTA 5. So that was pretty fun using that kind of stuff, but I don't know if that's still around being because like I know they shut the servers down for the PS3 version.
You're saying there are mods?
Yeah, so if you jailbreak your PS3,
Okay.
you can install mods and stuff for GTA 5, and it's just like floating in the air, like just all kinds of like crazy stuff that you can do. Um, so they had lobbies that you would go in, and they were just like modded lobbies, and people were just it was chaos. It was fun, but
I
like I said,
got you.
they shut down the PS3 servers, so I don't know if that's something that could be like revived with the jailbroken PS3 or not.
Yeah, I missed the part where you said jailbroken PS5 or PS3. Um, okay, so let's talk about Starfield a little. Now, obviously, it's going to be a big showcase on Sunday, but um, what do I have here? Oh, so apparently it takes place in 2330, like 300 years in the future. Um, and what I thought when I was researching it, I didn't realize they released gameplay uh of it like I don't know, a couple months ago maybe. Um, but there's going to be like different religions in the same sense of like factions you can join and everything. I thought that was pretty cool. Apparently they have over 1,000 different planets to explore. Um, and apparently they do it with like procedural generation or whatever. So it's like randomly um, generated planets when you get there. Um, which I guess that's pretty cool. I don't know if they're going to be using like AI for that or whatnot, but I think that'd be pretty cool. But what I want to see most out of it is like some expansive customization to your character. Like I want to be able to make my character look like as much of an idiot as I want him to look like, you know. I want like for your home planet. I hope you have like a home planet, like a home base that you can customize, like your spaceship, your house or whatever. Or, and I want to be able to like customize your like if you're on a planet, not necessarily in your spaceship. I want like different vehicles, like rovers or something like that. I think that would be super cool that you could customize and get around the planet that you're on quicker. I think that'd be
Yeah,
sick.
for sure.
But I think most of all, I'm looking for a story. I want to know what the story's about. I haven't seen anything on that really. Apparently there's a war that had just ended like 15 or so years before the start of the game, so I'm sure that's probably gonna come into play a little bit. Um, but I'm super stoked for it. I'm not really big Elder Scrolls fan or super RPG player, but I like the idea of exploring space and everything. I'm really intrigued to see what they do with that.
I think the game is going to end up being really good. I know there's been a lot of talk of if the game's going to be running at 30 frames, if it's going to be running at 60 frames. I think it's going to be like 4K 30 if I'm not mistaken, or like something like that. Um, so I know a lot of people are upset about that, but to me, and I in my opinion, I don't think frame rates determine whether a game is good or not. And that could be, being that I'm an older gamer, growing up playing Nintendo, Super Nintendo, you know what I mean? Like, those are I had some of the best memories playing NES, Super NES, Nintendo 64, PS2. Even today, like, those games still hold up in my opinion.
Yeah.
But you know, to have a game at like 30 frames per second and be like, oh no, this game is awful. That's I don't know. I think that's weird. So I think when it comes out, I think it's going to be good. I think it's going to be a lot of fun. It's going to be pretty much Skyrim, Elder Scrolls, Fallout, but in space.
Yeah.
I like those games. I think I have a lot of fun with them. I know a lot of other people who have a lot of fun with them. So I think even if Starfield's a miss, it's going to be a hit, if that makes any
Oh
sense.
yeah, I think there's so much hype behind it. There's no way that it can fail. Almost like Cyberpunk 2077. Like, yeah, it was complete ass when it came out, but there was so much hype behind it. It sold so many copies, it doesn't even matter.
Yeah. Yeah.
One thing that I noticed, and I heard people talking about it after I saw this, when you, I don't know why it bothers me, but when you leave a planet or you arrive at a planet and you go in to land on that planet or you take off from the planet, whatever, I don't think it's a free like take off and go up into space on your own type thing. I think as soon as you hit like leave planet, I think it's a cutscene of you leaving that planet. And I don't know why that bothers me, but I kind of want more of a free take off and land type thing when you get to different planets. Is it? Do you feel the same way? Is that am I weird for thinking that?
No, I don't think you're weird. I mean, hey, everybody's entitled to their own opinion. I mean, for me, I don't think it'll bother too much unless like it turns into like a long loading screen. So then it
Yeah,
becomes like really tedious. And I don't think that's gonna happen though. I think if they show the animation of like your apparatus taking off, landing or whatever, I think it's gonna be pretty instant. So similar to the way Destiny 2 works. Um, like on the next gen consoles, you go into orbit and you're in orbit for probably like 5 seconds and then you're already dropping down. Whereas
yeah,
previously on the Xbox One and the PS4, like you were up there for a little bit, to let everything load and like all that other stuff. So I think if the load times are pretty much non existent with that, I don't think it's going to be that big of a deal. But if that acts as like a buffer to like load like the next area and stuff and it takes a little bit, I could see that becoming tedious. And
yeah,
then yes, I would agree with you on that.
yeah. With those SSDs, I hope it cuts. There's almost no load time. But you never know. Like, yeah, games nowadays, there's no load time. But as these games get bigger and bigger, I I would stand to think that once a game gets big enough, it doesn't matter if you have an SSD or not. If there's a long ass load screen, you're gonna have like a 1-2 minute load screen, and I hope we don't get that. But
Yeah, that would be I would cry.
yeah, yeah, because it's so nice now not having load screens.
Yeah.
I think the one thing though is going to determine how long I actually play that game because um I it looks great and I'm gonna pick it up. I'm gonna try it out, but the one thing that's gonna keep me invested, I think, is how they model their quest system and tracking quests and everything. I think if it's one of those like kind of like Elden Ring, um, there's really not you can't put any waypoints on your map. Like there's nothing telling you where to go. Like if I'm go up to the NPC and I start a side quest, I want to see a little marker on my map showing me where I got to go to complete that, that part of the quest. I don't want to be left to figure it out and then I just be stuck, like not knowing where to go.
Yeah, my guess would be it's going to be similar to like the layout of the previous Elder Scrolls games, and then Fallout, where you get like your objective, and then you could go into your menu and choose which mission you want, and then you're going to have like a little like waypoint or some type of like compass like gimmick showing you like, hey, this is where you're going and that kind of stuff.
Yeah. Exactly. Do you have anything for Xbox you want to see, or anything else, or?
No, man, I think that pretty much covers everything. I think I know this is kind of crazy, but I don't think I'd mind seeing like a new console, not like a next gen console, but like, hey, here is like the series whatever, and it's like the slim
Series
version
Y?
of like, yeah, there you go, the Series Z,
Yeah.
um, and it's like the I guess like the slim version of the Series X.
Since I haven't gotten the Series X yet, I hope it's not one of those things like that, like, for instance, the PS3 when it first came out, the very first models of the PS3 was able to be backwards compatible with PS2 games. If they release a new updated version of Xbox Series, whatever it may be, I hope they don't take away from whatever something the Series X has. So what? Because I'm not gonna buy both. If they announce a new system, I'll go purchase that new system. But I hope I'm not missing out um, by not getting the Series X. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, for sure. I would be very upset if it's like, hey, here's like the new Xbox or whatever, like the updated model, but we're taking away like backward compatibility
Yeah.
or
Yeah.
you know, come on, man,
Yeah.
like don't do that.
I don't see them doing that because I feel like Xbox, what they have going for it is their backwards compatibility. Like PlayStation's kind of getting into it now, but Xbox has been, all about the backward compatibility for years now.
Yeah. So I'm definitely like not happy with Sony and like the lack of backward compatibility for the PS5. With the PlayStation Plus Premium, we're seeing mostly like PSP games, um, and I mean that's cool and all, but I'm not the biggest fan of the emulation of that. I'd like to see a lot more PS2 games, and I don't like the fact that the PS3 games have to be streamed. I wish I could pop in my PS3 disc and have, hey, like improved visuals, improved frame rate, similar to the way the Xbox One X was,
Yep.
similar to the way Xbox Series X is. Um, so for me, that's a big whiff on Sony's part, and I think that's where Microsoft definitely has the advantage there because somebody like me, a collector, I do have a relatively large 360 collection. I have a relatively large original Xbox collection. I have a relatively large Xbox One collection. So these are all games that I want to be able to go back and play. And now, granted, I have everything hooked up, but what about the people that have relatively large collections but don't have the room, don't have the space to hook up all their consoles?
Yeah. What if they have
You know what
to?
I mean?
What if they have to like trade in their old console to get the new one?
Yeah, you know what I mean? So it's just like, man, like then what do you do with all those games? And now you know as well as I do, a lot of those games, man, especially like the area we live in, um, you're not getting anything for those games.
Yeah.
So now you're pretty much stuck with stuff that you can't even use. Come on.
Dude, I get it. Yeah, and I'm not a fan of the streaming games either because, uh, you know, where I live, internet's okay, but sometimes it gets spotty, and um, it's just, some people don't have the internet capability to stream games like those AAA games, and it's just, I'm not a fan of it.
Yeah, no, I'm totally with you on that.
Nice, nice. Luke in chat says Starfield has to be better than No Man's Sky in a lot of ways and procedural generation. Yep. Yeah, we talked about that. There will be procedural generation for planets. They said they're going to be like a thousand planets um, in there to explore, and they'll all be randomly generated and stuff. So yeah, I get it.
So I hope, and I know this is probably asking for a lot, man, but I'm hoping the randomly generated planets are not like just like reskins.
Oh yeah, no,
You know what I
yeah,
mean? Like, oh hey, here's like Mars. Here's like a pink version of
yeah,
Mars.
yeah,
Here's like
a green version. Yeah.
yeah,
Oh,
yeah,
here's Earth 2.0.
yeah.
So
So
go
I
ahead.
don't know if you played Returnal yet on the PS5.
Yep.
Um,
I
like
haven't beat it
that's
though.
actually did you beat it?
No, I have not.
Oh yeah, I haven't beat it either. But to me, that's a good example of a game that's like super random because like every time you die, it's like literally like a different layout. You might get a same room like 6 rooms later on,
Yep.
but it seems like every time you restart, like the first at least like 4 or 5 rooms you get are completely different.
Yeah.
So hopefully Starfield will have that same tech.
That would be that would definitely be cool. Yeah, I need to get back into Returnal. I loved it. I love the bullet hells type of genre. Um, but I never even came close to finishing the first stage. And once I realized there were multiple stages and everything, I was like, oh. And then I think another game came out or something that I just got into and I forgot about Returnal. But I got to get back into it. It's a good game.
Yeah, for sure. The so those roguelike games are they're kind of fun, man, but sometimes they get a little tedious. I don't know if you played the game Hades. Have you heard of Hades?
Yeah. I got that. I got that
Okay.
on PS5 recently. I haven't played it yet though.
So I think it won like Game of the Year a couple years back, and I know it got like rave reviews and stuff. I liked it. Like I played through it, I liked it, but I just didn't love it the way like everybody else did because I just like I thought it got kind of boring. Um, so with the comparison to Returnal, I never felt bored playing Returnal like at all. Even though like it was like you're pretty much literally doing the same thing. It's like, oh, you die, you start over.
Yeah.
You die, you start over. Um, so the roguelike games I could understand why they would get tedious. Um, but Returnal I think is a really good example of one that's done well.
Oh yeah. Agreed. Agreed. Um. So what do you think you're going to be playing this next week up until we talk again?
I don't know, man. Like I've been trying to I'm gonna be messing around with some more Tears of the Kingdom, just you know, screwing around. I'm trying to go through the backlog. I actually just I finished up Mafia Definitive Edition last night.
Uh huh.
Um, that was a game that I had been wanting to play forever. I think back since the original Xbox, and I just never played it. And then finally they came out with Mafia Definitive Edition, and oh man, I'm gonna get it one day. I'm gonna get it one day. I finally got it. It's been sitting on my shelf. So that day finally came, man, and I played through it. I really enjoyed it, man. It was a good game. Is it game of the year? No. Um, is it in my top 10? No. But I had a really solid time with it. Good story, good mechanics, pretty fun.
Nice. Yeah. I think that's on PS Plus now too. If you have Plus membership, you can download and play for free. But I got that downloaded right now, and I need to jump into it. I probably downloaded it like 2 or 3 months ago, but I played a couple hours. I was like, man, this is really cool, but like everything, it just got pushed to the side and I never finished it. But I'd like to get it.
Yeah, it's like a GTA light.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and that's
Yes.
not by Rockstar, right? I don't know. They didn't do that.
No, that's 2K that did that.
Yep, that's right.
Yeah. So I actually want to start the second one. So I've heard the Mafia 2 remaster that's like on the PS4 that you could play on the PS5 has a lot of glitches. I just heard like that remaster was just like piss poor. So I actually own a physical copy of Mafia 2 on the PS3. So I think I'm gonna fire up the PS3 and play it on that and just kind of see how I feel about that one. And then I have Mafia 3 on the PS4 and I've had that one since like the beginning of time. And again, that's another one that I I bought that one. I paid full price for it. I got that maybe like the second week it came out, and oh man, I'm gonna play it, and I never played it, and now I think that game is like $10.
Yeah.
So lesson learned.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Do you find it hard to go back to like PS3 and stuff when you've been playing your PS5 for the past year or however long you've had it?
I don't know, but I know like a lot of people do have a hard time with, having to go back to like the older stuff because of the graphics and everything. And I just I don't so I used to play a lot of PS3 games that were available on the PS4. So like for instance, Diablo 3, I used to play the hell out of Diablo 3 on my PS3, even though I had it on my PS4. And it when you compare the two, it runs like shit, man, on the PS3. It just runs really bad. Um, so it's that retrospect, yeah, it's hard to do that. But if I'm playing a game like, I don't know, Infamous, for instance, um, I have there's no like better version to compare it to. Yes, there's Infamous Second Son on the PS4, but it's not Infamous 1 or Infamous 2.
Mm-hmm.
So like to me, like I could kind of separate it. But if I were to go and play Dark Souls 2, for instance, like Dark Souls 2 on the PS4, Scholar of the First Sin,
Yeah.
runs great, excellent. If I go back and play it on the PS3, I'm gonna have like not such a good experience because like the frame rates are gonna be lower, like the graphics are gonna be a little bit choppier. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So as long as I kind of keep my expectations in tech and I don't play anything that I would normally play like on a PS5, I'm sorry, on a PS4, I'll be all right.
Nice.
So what about
Yeah.
you, man? Do you find yourself going back and forth or having a hard time with
Yeah.
your older stuff?
Yeah. It's hard. It really
Yeah.
is. It's just the SSDs, I think, for me. Like if I got to sit there and wait for a 10-minute long loading screen, I just get fed up. I'm like, screw this. I think I'm spoiled now with the
Yeah.
SSDs. But the last game I booted up my PS3 for was probably about a year and a half, 2 years ago now. I started playing through Fight Night Champion again.
Mm,
I forgot how much I love those Fight Night games.
yeah.
That could be something I want to see from one of these developers. I don't know. I know EA made it, but a nice boxing game.
Yeah, bring
I'd be
it
down
back,
to
man.
play
Because
that.
boxing's regaining popularity, man.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like boxing was pretty much dead, and now it's the resurrection has happened, man, and now it's coming back in. So yeah, maybe it's time for a new fight night.
Heck yeah. I think that would be big if they unveil something like that. EA does. Man. Luke in chat says Returnal was a shocker for me. It was fantastic. Yes, it is. Also said Hades had great potential, but it got way too hard to get through the levels and eventually became too much of a grind. Ooh, that's good to know.
Yes.
That,
Yep.
that kind of goes with what you said. Just kind of got old after a little bit, huh?
Yeah, yeah, because that's literally like how it was. It was just like you die, and then it's like okay, like now you got to get new weapons, and it's just like it got harder and harder, and then after a while, it's just like it just gets super tedious, man.
Yeah, I get it. I might boot it up at some point. I got it on sale. I think last Black Friday, maybe. I forget. I got it on sale. It was like $10, I think, so I picked it up.
Yeah, I mean it's not the worst game you're ever gonna play. You know what I mean? Like it's definitely good, but it just has like that tedious like grind to it. That's just kind of like, eh.
Yep. All right, so hey, we're live streaming this on YouTube right now, but I think my plan is at some point. I don't know if I'm gonna put the very first episode up. I might wait till we bank a few, and then start throwing them on like Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, and everything. So if by some chance you're listening on there, head over to YouTube and hit the subscribe and like button and show some support. But I think that's gonna be good for this week there, old school. I appreciate you joining in and talking to me. And I can't
Yeah,
wait
I
to do
appreciate
some
you
more.
having me, man. Yeah, definitely, man.
Heck yeah, it's been fun.
Absolutely.
All right, so if you, Luke, you've been in here this whole time. Thank you, buddy, for watching. And if you're watching later after this VOD goes up, I appreciate you. All right, guys.